Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Corissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. There will always be seasons of your life when you feel like things are moving just a little too fast. There will also be times when everything seems like it's happening all at once and you have no time to breathe. There will always be moments when you try to convince yourself that you won't forget that thing you need to do, and you get cocky and don't write it down or schedule it into your calendar. These are all experiences that come with being human. But when these moments become the lens through which you see yourself and the foundation for measuring your worth, that's when you may want to take a step back and reevaluate the reality of what is going on. In this episode, we are going to look at practices and rituals that make up 3 steps you can take to get your life in order with Smoky Quartz. My oldest just completed his first year of college. He had a learning curve transitioning from high school to college, but I know he's a clever kid and capable of so many wonderful things. He just needed to figure out his groove. Nevertheless, he did struggle with organization, and that impacted his ability to create some of the results he wanted to create during this past year. He's human and he's young. So while I know I have a whole encyclopedia of advice, it's frustrating and challenging as the parent to watch the slow motion train wreck when what I really wanted to do was intervene. But intervening isn't necessarily the best way to have handled the situation. As much as we might all claim that we want to be told what to do, there is this underlying need for us to figure it out for ourselves. So as we continue on, I'm going to share with you some of my observations, some advice I may or may not have bestowed upon my son, things you can consider and contemplate as we explore ways to organize and get your life in order. There's an unlimited number of ways we can arrive at having the thoughts that create a sense of not being organized. Maybe it's coming as self-criticism or the way you talk to yourself about how you've managed things in your past. Maybe someone in your past was critical of you and you've internalized that as being who you are. Maybe it's a fear of not living up to the standards you think you need to perform. We do live in an age of everything being made to look perfect, and that can be an unrealistic standard to recreate when even the people we see depicted as perfect have been touched up or edited in order to appear that way. Or it could be from the sheer overwhelm of not knowing the full scope of what you are expecting from yourself or what you think others are expecting from you. And the weight of all these thoughts over time can do a number on how you view yourself, how you feel about your abilities to accomplish things, and on your ability to feel a sense of completion. What I have found is that these narratives, these stories, these thoughts that sound really believable, by the way, all result in feeling worried, defeated, or overwhelmed. And this is when the feelings of not being organized end up becoming too much to handle. For my son, college required a different kind of self-organization than he had to use in high school, and that created one of his first blocks in creating his results. He had never needed to keep track of his schedule or what was going on to this degree before, and needed to up his game in order to keep himself organized. Fun fact, he does not like planners. So at every turn when planners and calendars were suggested, he would reject them full stop. So whether you fall in this category or not, the thing that I think is really important to figure out for yourself is how and where you can write it all down, all the things that are taking up space in your brain. If you don't write down all the things, you aren't able to easily know what is actually required of you. And even those of us with really great memories, we too can forget things. Also, our brains love to remind us of all the things we need to attend to. And if we don't have a way to cut through this noise, we are going to eventually succumb to the pressure of rethinking one thing a million times, and then multiply that by the number of things you're trying to remember. So, whether it is a note app in your phone, or a composition book, or a bullet journal, or a planner, having somewhere to write it all down is the first thing I would highly recommend. You could use the Charmed Morning Ritual worksheet here, and it's available as a free download you can get through the link in the show notes. But whether you use this worksheet or just a plain piece of paper, it's making sure that you write it all down that's important, because that's what lets you do the next part. The art of feeling organized is to be able to get done the things you want and need to do. The thing to do after writing all the things down is to prioritize the things you want to do and need to do. This will make sure that your bills get paid, or you get your shirt from the dry cleaners, as well as have time to read that book for book club. It would be great if we could end here with just the grounded awareness of what we have going on. Unfortunately, it isn't, because we need to actually intend to do it. So this is when you schedule the want and need to do things into your planner or calendar. This step is where my son came up against being his own worst enemy. When he attempted to be more on top of what was going on, he resisted carving out time in his calendar to do the things. He was blissfully living in the "I'll do it later," and I have tons of time to get that done world, which ultimately crashed down on him as the semester came to a close. It's important to understand that when it comes time to do these things you've scheduled into your calendar, you won't want to do them. There will quite often be some shiny object or pressing event that pops up and takes your attention away from the thing, especially if it's something from your need to do list. I feel that way with paying my bills. I like the spending money part, but not so much the paying the bill part, and love to find reasons to avoid scheduling those monthly payments. But I am fully aware that if I choose to follow my inspiration in that moment, there will be a consequence that I don't like. like penalties and interest on top of paying for the original thing. So exercising some discipline and actually showing up for yourself and doing the thing pays off. Practice following through and doing the things you've scheduled into your planner. Ultimately, you get to decide each and every time whether you want to indulge in that shiny object or do something in that moment that your future self will thank you for. The more you do this tiny act of showing up for yourself, the easier it becomes to follow through in general. You will begin to build trust with yourself, trust that you have a plan, trust that you will get it done. The relaxation you can feel because you trust in yourself, your plan, and that things will get done is amazing. You will feel more productive. You'll find you have more time to do the would-be nice things that are fun too. Try to hold yourself accountable and get things done in the time you allot for yourself. If you've never done time blocking, you may not know the first few times how long something will take to get it done. Still, try to get as much as you can done in that time allotted. You can always add more time to your calendar for a second round. I happen to be the person who needs a lot of white space on my calendar. I've learned that I can't write every single thing in because that causes me to feel overwhelmed. It took some experimenting to find out the right balance for me, but now I have a rhythm that works. It gives me the peace of mind that I'm not missing things and plenty of flex time to pick up the slack when I fall for the planning fallacy, which is when we underestimate how long it will take to get something done, even if we have done that thing in the past. In one study, they found that only 30% of participants completed the project they were working on in the amount of time they had originally predicted. That means that the remaining 70% took longer to complete the task. With this in mind, when you're blocking out time, be a little more generous with how much time you think something will take so that you will find yourself not getting discouraged when your allotted time is up. When you are feeling like you still have all these unfinished tasks and projects, even when some things have been finished, find ways to create closure, both mentally and emotionally. This is where having a ritual, something that signals to your conscious and unconscious brain about the task being completed, will help you in being able to let go of holding on to the thought or idea of the task. Whether it be integrating checkboxes or crossing things off or doing energetic closing rituals. I think working with Smoky Quartz here is the perfect crystal to help you get your life in order, with its ability to help you feel grounded by anchoring your energy. It provides you with a sense of stability and rootedness, even when things are chaotic or stressful. Smoky Quartz also helps with protection, helping you to fend off your self-doubt and insecurities, which will enable you to maintain a clear and focused mindset. Smoky Quartz is also helpful when you want to let go and transform your limiting beliefs, fears, and thought patterns that contribute to you feeling overwhelmed, defeated, and disorganized. Last but not least, Smoky Quartz, through its grounding and protective properties, will support you in creating emotional balance, so you will be better equipped to tackle the tasks you've written down, to set your priorities, and then follow through to get it all done. With the support of your crystals and your decision to show up for yourself, you will be able to get your life in order and feel more organized. It may be something you need to practice for a while as you get used to dealing with all the ways you currently distract yourself, but the magic you can create in your life when you do decide to overcome these obstacles will amaze you. For those of you already inside the Crystal Self-Healer members portal, you have access to all the worksheets and workbooks I talk about, rituals to help you create order or to help with energetic healing and closure, as well as support from me when you need it. As for my son, when the concept of blocking time and then actually showing up for that scheduled time actually clicked for him, he found himself feeling way more relaxed and able to enjoy his free time without the stress and worry of what may be required of him, because he had it all neatly planned and allocated in the calendar on his phone. This episode has been brought to you by Smoky Quartz and the Planning Fallacy. May we all be realistic in how long we estimate our projects to take so we can get our lives in order and get to the good stuff. Blessed be, my friends. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self-Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.